Om. 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 Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavai Tejasvina Vaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May the Divine Being look over us lovingly as a mother and father. May the Divine Being support and nourish us as a mother and father. May we have the strength and skill to study together the art of spirituality. May no misunderstandings arise amongst us. Om, peace, peace, peace and beneficence be unto us and to all beloved beings everywhere. Well, good evening, everyone. Namaste and welcome to our Tuesday evening class, our study and discussion, our reading and discussion of the life of Sri Sarada Devi in Swami Chaitanananda's book, Sri Sarada Devi, Her Divine Play. We're now just coming to the end of Holy Mother's life. She lived for 67 years, from 1853 to 1920. She was, according to Sri Ramakrishna, born in this incarnation as the goddess Saraswati, the goddess of learning, of art, of science, of music. And if we consider how the world has changed since 1853, this gives us reason to believe what the Master said. The advances in all of those fields have been so remarkable as to be almost beyond belief, what has happened in the world since 1853. So we are just, as I said, coming to the end of the Mother's life. And before we go ahead and start our reading and discussion of this evening's material, is there anything that anyone wants to say or comment or add to the discussion before we begin? All right, dear Haima, our most capable reader, please go ahead.
Okay. Good evening and namaste, everyone. We are on page 751 in the book. That is, the subtitle is From the Form to the Formless. That's
before you begin, let me remind everyone that the voice that is speaking here is not the Mother's, but Swami Chaitanananda. And there is great wisdom in this Swami, great wisdom. He is a remarkable soul. All of the books he's written, all the research he's done. So this is his voice speaking to us from the form to the formless. Thank you, Haima, and please go ahead.
Okay. The infinite God becomes finite by assuming a human body, and all bodies, divine, human, or animal, are subject to destruction. There is no exception to this law of nature. Holy Mother cast off her human form and returned to her true abode, the formless, all-pervading consciousness. Because the mind has a form, it cannot think of.
Someone has their mic on. I think it's Balakrishna.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So could you start that sentence again, please? Dear?
Sure. Because the mind has a form, it cannot think of that which is formless. Although Holy Mother's
I mean, start
from the beginning. Okay.
No, just the previous sentence.
Holy Mother cast off her human form and returned to her true abode, the formless, all-pervading consciousness. Because the mind has a form, it cannot think of that which is formless.
Now let's be very clear about that. Oftentimes, we worry ourselves by trying to think of the formless, of the absolute, the infinite. Absolutely impossible, in Swami Chaitananda's lovely words, hopeless condition. The finite mind simply cannot. So there's no sense disturbing ourselves about it. There's no sense aggravating ourselves by trying to understand or grasp the infinite, the absolute, the formless. As Swami Prabhupada would say, it's like trying to empty the ocean of consciousness with a teaspoon. Our finite minds are so tiny by comparison, though they're great in their potential power. And we can ultimately come to have the experience of samadhi and have some sense and finally be in the state of the absolute. Nirvikalpa samadhi, savikalpa samadhi will give us this unmistakable and convicted belief in the absolute. But it's still, as Christ said, we're still seeing as through a glass darkly. And so then there is that state beyond, which is Nirvikalpa Samadhi, which we can't even begin to talk about because it is this infinite. So any comments or questions from anyone before we move on? All right, dear, please go ahead.
Because the mind has a form, it cannot think of that which is formless. Although Holy Mother's human form no longer exists, the photographs taken of her during her lifetime are now objects of our meditation. Swami Ishanananda wrote in his reminiscences, towards the end, the mother always expressed her eagerness to go near the bank of the Ganges. She said, "Take me to the bank of the Ganges, and there I will cool myself." When her body was brought to Belur Math, different monks suggested different spots for the mother's cremation. But Mahapurush Maharaj rejected their suggestions.
Swami Shivananda, Mahapurush Maharaj. He was a direct disciple, of course, of Sri Ramakrishna. Mahapurush Maharaj, the second president of the Ramakrishna order.
But Mahapurush Maharaj rejected their suggestions and selected the particular spot where her temple now exists. He said, Holy Mother will be at peace watching the holy river Ganges. She will bestow eternal peace upon humanity. Swami Sarada Devi.
Let's not pass that.
Okay.
She will bestow eternal peace upon humanity. It's not this bestowing is not a command. It is not an imposition. It is an invitation. We can accept her invitation to be at peace. And if we do, as the Swami says, by meditating on her pictures, then something remarkable will happen. She will bestow peace upon you. And it doesn't happen all at once for most people, as Swami Prabhupada said. In some very rare cases, it happens all at once. But for most of us, as Swami Sridharananda said, it happens slowly and slowly. Why? Because our Maya, the Maya of which our bodies, our spacesuits are made, is so dense with samskaras. Not anything we've done wrong. It's simply the fact that we've been embodied in one form or another for eons. So dense with samskaras. And so it takes a while to make those samskaras go dormant by the mother's peace. Any comments from anyone else? Any questions? Okay, dear, please go on.
Sure. Swami Saradeshananda left a written portrait of Belur Math before the mother's body arrived there and afterwards. Swami Shivananda was gravely pacing back and forth on the upper floor of the Mutt building. Sometimes he looked at the Ganges, Dakshineshwar, Kasipur, or Udbodhan from the upper veranda and then again returned to his room. Only he knew what was going through his mind. Still it was dark. When there was a little brightness in the east, Bhuban Babu, an old devotee, bowed to Swami Shivananda and said, Maharaj, the mother is shining in Udbodhan. A divine light has been seen radiating from her face. Seeing her, no one can tell that she has left us. All grief goes away upon seeing her face. The master's worship and food offering were arranged quickly. Swami Subodhananda was running around and supervising everything. Before the arrival of the mother's body, the master's worship service and food offering needed to be finished. There was a picture of Holy Mother in the master's bedroom at Belur Math. Lakshman Maharaj, the worshipper, asked permission from Mahapurush Maharaj and then placed the mother's picture at the left side of the master's on the altar.
Which is how it is normally displayed on all altars ever since. Our altar here is unique, in my experience, in arranging the pictures vertically as Swami Yogeshananda did. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It was simply his take on how it should be done. But this placing the picture to the left of the master on the altar is how you'll find it in virtually every all the Ramakrishna mission centers here in the West, and as far as I know, in India as well. So could you read that sentence again, please?
Sure. There was a picture of Holy Mother in the master's bedroom at Belur Math. Lakshman Maharaj, the worshipper, asked permission from Mahapurush Maharaj and then placed the mother's picture at the left side of the master's on the altar. He decorated the mother's picture with flowers and a garland. From that very day, the mother's daily worship began publicly at Belur Math. About noon, the mother's body arrived at Belur Math by boat. Her body was smeared with sandal paste and perfume, and the cot was beautifully decorated with flowers and garlands. The mother's women devotees with the tearful eyes bathed her body by dipping it in the Ganges and then dressed her in a new cloth. After that, her body was brought to the courtyard near the steps of the master's temple, the old shrine. A monk performed the worship and arati by waving a lamp with 5 wicks. Many footprints of the mother were taken. Then her body was carried to the funeral pyre, which had already been set up with sandalwood on the spot where the present temple exists. Swami Saradananda circumambulated the mother's body and set the wood on fire. Swami Shivananda, Subodhananda, Nirmalananda, Yam, and many of the earliest men and women devotees surrounded the funeral pyre and watched that wonderful cremation. Swami Nirmalananda chanted some Vedic hymns. The blazing fire engulfed the mother's body, and everyone offered incense, aguru, which is a perfume, and camphor as oblations. The cremation ended very quickly. To extinguish the fire, everyone began to bring water from the Ganges in earthen pots. Then it began to rain, and Swami Saradananda asked everyone to stop bringing water. A small shower extinguished the funeral pyre and cooled the children of the mother from the summer heat. A few monks gathered the mother's relics and ashes in a copper vessel. It was amazing that there were not many relics of the mother's body. Most of them were reduced to ashes. The copper vessel was carried into the master's shrine and placed in front of the mother's picture. There was a special food offering to the master with the luchis, a vegetable curry, and rasagolas, which were afterwards distributed among all present. In the evening, a disciple, Swami Saradeshananda himself, burned incense on the spot where the mother's body had been cremated. From the next day on, Swami Subodhananda designated a brahmachari to burn incense there every day. Swami Bhuteshananda saw Holy Mother when she was alive, and he also saw her body in the courtyard at Udbodhan house after she had passed away. He followed the funeral procession along with the monks. He related a slightly different story with some additional information. We crossed the Ganges by boat and came to Belur Math. At that time, the Ganges was just east of the Nagalingam tree, which was to the south of Swamiji's room and was planted by Swami Brahmananda. There was a slope in that area down to the Ganges. The mother's boat was anchored there, and her body was carried to a spot under the mango tree in the courtyard. The monks and devotees paid their last homage to the mother. Then her body was carried to the place where her temple exists. There was no cut there, but the bank was even and parallel to the Ganges. The women devotees gave the mother a bath there. The funeral pyre was arranged with the sandalwood on the spot where the mother's temple exists at present. Brother Ramlal the master's nephew, was invited to set fire to the funeral pyre, but he was not available. So his brother Shivaram set the fire as a part of the ritual. Swami Atma Prakashananda was in the procession and he recalled, a bath was given to the mother's body at the old gut of Belur Math. I heard from Yoginma and Golapma that the mother's body was soft and flexible. It was very unusual because a dead body generally becomes stiff and inflexible. Her divine body was consigned to the fire at 3 p.m. Sarala later.
I think the word is consigned rather than confined.
Oh, consigned, yes. Her divine body was consigned to the fire at 3 p.m. You're right, thank you. Sarala later Bharati Prana reminisced. The mother's cot was carried to the Kurigat at Baranagore via Kasipur. Golapma and Yoginma forbade me to join the funeral procession, saying, what will you see there? But Sister Sudhira grabbed my hand forcefully and dragged me in the procession. At that time, loud Hari Sankirtan devotional music was going on. My mind was blank. I walked to Kutigat with the group. There, the monks and devotees carried the mother's body to a big boat. The women devotees boarded a small boat, which went along with the big boat. At 2 p.m., we reached Belur Math, and the mother's body was taken to a spot under the mango tree in the courtyard. The monks worshipped the mother's body and offered food. Her body was taken to the Ganges to be bathed. Some women held a cloth to block the view. Sister Sudhira and I took the mother's body in the Ganges and gave her a nice bath with the water. Lately, due to the excessive burning sensation of her body, the mother would often say, take me to the Ganges. Take me to the Ganges. This time I felt the mother's body was light and soft. We removed the cloth she had on and dressed her again in a new silk cloth with a narrow red border. Again, the monks carried her body under the mango tree.
Hold on just one moment.
Sure.
Bala Krishna, you know a great deal about this. It is indeed unusual for a body after this many hours of being lifeless to be soft and flexible, isn't it? It's normally in what's called rigor mortis. Isn't that the case?
Yes, that is the case normally. Yes.
So it was very unusual,
Yes.
a sign of divine grace
Yes.
that her body was still soft and flexible after that many hours. So it didn't mean she was still there. It meant that her body was not subject to the normal uh, process that goes on. I'm not exactly certain why rigor mortis happens. And I'm not asking Balakrishna Ji to explain, but nevertheless, it does happen. So
Actually, I have another example of Swami Chinmayananda, who passed away at the hospital in San Diego. The nurse, before, when he was sick, even his bowel movement is supposed to be smelling like a, sandalwood. Actually, the nurses were fighting with each other to go and clean him.
Remarkable.
Actual story.
Well, again, the holy ones, holy ones are not like the rest of us.
Yes.
So it is by the grace of the divine that we exist at all. And for that there is great gratitude. But we should not expect to be in the same,
Yes.
have the same things happen to us that happen to them. They have been purified to such an extent that their bodies are very different. Anything else from anyone before we read on?
I have 2 points to make. Namaste.
Namaste, Charlotte.
My father's guru, when he was consigned to flames, this is what my father told me, that when it was done, there was not a single black spot in the ashes. It was just pure white ash completely.
Mm.
And everybody was stunned. So I think all of these divine beings, they have something unique.
Oh, yes.
And second is, Swami Bhuteshananda ji is my Guru Maharaj. And I had no idea that, I knew he saw Holy Mother and he took his darshan, but I had no idea that he was so much involved with the order back then in 1920. Because he was only 19 years old back then, or maybe 20. 19, I think he was 19 years old.
A lot of these young men joined very early. They joined when they were in their late teens or early 20s. So yes, it's the Swami Prabhavananda is an example also of joining very early when he was still a college student. And so knew many of the direct disciples, including Holy Mother. So thank you, Shailesh, for those points. Anything else from anyone?
Yes, brother, this is Jeff.
Yes, Jeff.
From my experience on the path of Paramahansa Yogananda earlier, I'm aware of the fact that when he had his Mahasamadhi, it was being quite remarkable that apparently either he wasn't embalmed or there was he wasn't cremated, to my knowledge, but quite some time passed, and the funeral director was astonished to see that there was no decay in his body whatsoever, and wrote a letter to Yogananda's organization to that effect. So just another example of the many that we've talked about here.
Indeed. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for that contribution. These holy ones are, as the Swami said in introducing this, when they take human form, these holy ones are subject to Maya, but not entirely in the same sense that you and I might be. So, thank you, Jeff. Anything else from anyone? All right, dear, please read on.
Sure. Again, the monks carried her body under the mango tree, and again they performed arati with light and incense. I watched everything, but my mind was so numb that I felt nothing. The funeral pyre was arranged where the present temple of the mother exists. It was hard for me to watch. I lay down behind Sister Sudhira. The mother's body was placed on the sandalwood pyre, and Sharat Maharaj and other monks circumambulated the pyre and offered bell leaves, incense, delirium on it. Sister Prabodh grabbed my hand and lifted me up, saying, "Look how beautiful it looks." I saw the flames of the blazing fire rising high. At that time, there were no trams and buses like at present, so there was not much of a crowd. The blazing fire consumed the mother's body. I did not see the mother's body on the pyre because I kept my eyes down, thinking that there was no need to see that painful scene.
Mm.
When it was over, we encircled the pyre and offered oblations 3 times. It was amazing that there was rain on the other side of the Ganges, but not on this side. The all-devouring Agni, the god of fire, consumed Holy Mother's mortal form. Swami Bhuteshananda said, after the cremation, the monks and devotees poured Ganges water over the slow burning fire. I also poured water. Some monks gathered the mother's relics and ashes, and then the devotees began to collect the relics. Swami Saradananda, leaving his natural gravity, loudly said, let me remind those who are collecting those relics and ashes. If they cannot maintain their sanctity and do not worship them daily, great harm will befall them. Hearing the Swami's grave warning, the devotees returned those relics to the funeral spot. Swami Saradananda recorded in his diary, Wednesday, 21st July 1920, procession to Belur Math via Baranagore at about 10:30 a.m. and the Yagna at about 3 p.m. A heavy shower ended the ceremony at about dusk. Sunday, 1st August 1920, a special puja of the RK order at Belur and Calcutta Maths on account of the ascension of HM.
So
That's it.
R.K. Ramakrishna, H.M. Holy Mother, of course. So could you read that again and when you read the initials, read the name, please?
Yeah, okay. Swami Saradananda recorded in his diary, Wednesday, 21st July 1920, procession to Belur Math via Baranagore at about 10:30 a.m. and the Yagna at about 3 p.m. A heavy shower ended the ceremony at about dusk. Sunday, 1st August 1920, a special puja of the Ramakrishna order at Belur and Calcutta Maths on account of the ascension of Holy Mother. That's the end of that subheading, Brother Shankara. We're going into any comments.
Yes, please. Anything at all anyone would like to offer about what has been read. Of course, this is, if you're at all heartfelt about this sort of thing, you cannot but be moved. But the thing to remember is what Swami Chaitananda said earlier. The Mother is still with us, offering eternal peace to those who accept her invitation. But it requires accepting her invitation. The divine never imposes. Our karma is not an imposition of the divine. It is a creation of this spacesuit in its former incarnations. We come to this, so it's not as if the divine is imposing this. It is known to the divine, of course, but it isn't as if they're judging and dispensing justice. That's not karma. Of course, the mother had no karma. So this is why her body remained soft and flexible, because there was no karma. From here, it seems to me that rigor mortis is another example of our karma, that we become stiff and inflexible at death. But the mother's invitation to accept her grace of eternal peace is ever there, ever there. So, anything else from anyone? And here Shailesh was a bit more about your Guruji's reminiscences and his involvement in this. Very sweet. All right, if there's nothing else, then we'll ask Haima to read on.
Okay, Brother Shankara. On page 756, there is a beautiful Sarada Devi shrine at Belur Math, built on her cremation site picture. It's a beautiful picture in the book, just to let everybody know. And then we're starting page 757. That subheading is Mother, O Mother. That is the subheading. When Holy Mother passed away, Swami Brahmananda was in Bhubaneswar. On 21 July, around 1:30 a.m., Brahmananda was seated in his easy chair, covered with a shawl. He was grave. He asked Nirvanananda, "What is the time now? I don't know why my mind is so restless for the mother. I don't know how she's doing." "Maharaj, will you not sleep?" Nirvanananda asked. The Swami did not answer. "Shall I bring a smoke?" The Swami remained silent. Nirvanananda left the room. The next morning, Maharaj was pacing on the veranda restlessly and did not go out for his usual walk. That very day, a telegram came from Swami Saradananda with the news that the mother had passed away at 1:30 a.m. 1:30 a.m. Brahmananda's face became swollen with grief. He simply lay down. After a while, he got up and said to his attendant, "I shall eat only Havishana." Havishana means, I will read, there is a note. According to the Hindu custom, when parents die, the son observes rituals for a minimum of 11 days, including offering prayers and water to the departed one. The bereaved son also eats Havishana, boiled rice with ghee, wears one cloth, goes barefoot, does not shave, sleeps alone, studies the Gita and Upanishads, and so on. That is what he said. I shall eat only Havishana.
In other words, he was going to observe certain of these rituals. As a monk, he was not obligated to observe them all. But what we may learn what he did besides just eating the boiled rice with ghee. That alone for those 11 days. So any other comments or questions from anyone? All right, dear, please read on.
Those who are the mother's disciples should eat Havishana once a day and not wear shoes. The Swami did not speak for 3 days. He ate Havishana for 12 days and he went barefoot. Then one day he said, "All these days we were protected by a big mountain." Just after the cremation, Swami Shivananda said to the monks and devotees at Belur Math, "The Divine Mother Sati's body was divided into 51 pieces and fell in 51 places throughout India. Those places became Shakti Pithas or Devi Tirthas. And today, that very Sati's entire body has become mixed with the ground of Belur Math. So you can imagine what a great and holy place Belur Math is."
And for anyone who visits there, they'll understand in some degree what it is that the Swami said. So please read that again, please, what
Sure.
Shivananda said.
Just after the cremation, Swami Shivananda said to the monks and devotees at Belur Math, the Divine Mother Sati's body was divided into 51 pieces and fell in 51 places throughout India. Those places became Shaktipitas or Devi Tirthas. And today, that very Sati's entire body has become mixed with the ground of Belur Math. So you can imagine what a great and holy place Belur Math is. A couple of days after the mother's passing away, a respected couple who were the mother's disciples came to Belur Math. They had come from far away to see Holy Mother, but their hopes were dashed to pieces. Swami Shivananda consoled them, saying, the mother is now all-pervading. One can...
Let's not pass that
Yes.
by. Once again,
Mhm.
we have this assertion. The mother is now in her omnipresent form. That is formless in the sense of no physical form, but she is all-pervading. She is omnipresent. She is here with us this moment. Any comments or questions or concerns from anyone? We must not pass these things by. Shivananda was not speaking carelessly or just making some complimentary remark about the mother. He meant what he said with the intensity of the conviction of knowing. So please read that, what Shivananda said again.
I feel a couple of days after the mother's passing away, a respected couple who were the mother's disciples came to Belur Math. They had come from far away to see Holy Mother, but their hopes were dashed to pieces. Swami Shivananda consoled them, saying, the mother is now all-pervading. One can now see her in everything and every being. Anyone who calls on her wholeheartedly will see her. Previously, she lived in a particular place. Now she's everywhere. Do not grieve. Call on her with a sincere and longing heart, and she will reveal herself to you. Swami Shivananda's message touched many grieving hearts.
And it should touch ours now.
Yes. I can read this one more time, Brother Shankara.
Yes, but before you do, just know that the name by which Shivananda was known was Mahapurush Maharaj. Great soul, great soul. And the reason is that when he spoke these things, he knew them. It wasn't belief. It wasn't an idea. It wasn't something of his mind. It was absolute, certain knowledge. So please read again what he said here.
Yes. A couple of days after the mother's passing away, a respected couple who were the mother's disciples came to Belur Math. They had come from far away to see Holy Mother, but their hopes were dashed to pieces. Swami Shivananda consoled them, saying, the mother is now all-pervading. One can now see her in everything and every being. Anyone who calls on her wholeheartedly will see her. Previously, she lived in a particular place. Now she is everywhere. Do not grieve. Call on her with a sincere and longing heart, and she will reveal herself to you. Swami Shivananda's message touched many grieving hearts. Regarding Ramakrishna...
By this, This is the way for the Swami to say that this touched his heart as well, Swami Chaitanya. That's his way of letting us know that. By this indirection, he's saying the many grieving hearts that it consoled, his was among them. Okay, dear.
Regarding Ramakrishna's passing away, Romain Roland wrote, "The man himself was no more. His spirit had departed to travel along the path of collective life in the veins of humanity." I'll read this one more time.
Oh, yes. He's in our very veins.
Veins.
And this man was greatly respected by the Swamis of the order. He was a Frenchman.
Yeah. Regarding Ramakrishna's passing away, Romain Roland wrote, "The man himself was no more. His spirit had departed to travel along the path of collective life in the veins of humanity." Similarly, when the mother's earthly life ended and she merged into the divine, her spirit began to spread in the east and the west. The following two letters testify to the mother's divine influence, permeating the minds of two important persons, one of the east and one of the west, who knew her intimately. M, the recorder of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, received immense love and grace from the Master and the Mother. Holy Mother initiated him, his wife, and all his children. A little over a year after the mother's passing away, he wrote a letter of consolation to Umesh Chandra Datta, a fellow disciple. Calcutta, Durga Puja 1328, that was in 1921. Dear Umesh, upon receiving your letter, I realized that we have truly lost our mother. Alas, 1 year has passed since she disappeared from us. There is a saying that children pass through a hard time for a year after losing their mother. However, here is a song. Mother, mother, my boat is sinking here in the ocean of this world. Fiercely, the hurricane of delusion rages on every side. Clumsy is my helmsman, the mind. Stubborn, my 6 oarsmen, the passions. Into a pitiless wind, I sailed my boat, and now it is sinking. Split is the rudder of devotion. Tattered is the sail of faith. Into my boat the waters are pouring. Tell me, what shall I do? For with my failing eyes, alas, nothing but darkness do I see. Here in the waves I will swim, O Mother, and cling to the raft of thy name. Now where is the way out? When a mother spanks her children, they cry saying, "Mother, mother," to go back to her lap. The children's only resort is to cry and call out, "Mother, mother," like kittens. Let her will be done. What more shall I write to you? Your condition and my condition are the same. Now the only thing we can do is to call, "Mother, mother." Today is Bodhan, the awakening ceremony of the Divine Mother, who has come to receive worship in Bengal as Durga, the same mother who took human form and thought of our welfare till 21st July last year. Is she not thinking of us now? It is impossible for Holy Mother to forget us. The other day, I had a dream. The mother said to me, "As you saw me when I gave up the body was made of Maya. Look, I still remain in the same form." Affectionately, Srima M. That was the letter to Umesh. Any comments, Brother
Any
Shankar?
comments? Any comments from anyone? Once again, this is a man who speaks from knowledge, not from belief, not from thinking about it, but from the heartfelt shraddha of conviction and knowledge. So we can believe him as we believed Shivananda. This is the Great Mother is with us and can come to us in a dream or vision as she came to M and be as sweet and reassuring to us, or give us instruction, or somehow involve herself with us in ways that we would never, ever dream were possible unless we yearned and had devotion. And even then, we can't imagine what will happen. Anything else from anyone? Anything at all?
Even ordinary people like us, I mean, we lose our parents or spouses or, our loved ones. After they pass away, they remain with us more than when they were with us. We think of them a lot more if we were close to them. If we were close to them, we think of more. We feel them all the time, their presence, and imagine a mother. We all feel her. Even now, we all feel her.
And actually that increases over the years, yes.
Yes, exactly. And we feel that her divinity within us and in front of us and everywhere in the universe. I think that's how we get there.
Well, as was said by Shivananda, we see the divine being in every being. We begin to see, call it mother, call it whatever your mind wishes to call it. The divine presence takes all these forms out of love for us, because of our yearning, takes these forms. So then when we meditate on them, we are capable of seeing them in every being.
That's right.
So instead of saying you to that person, we say thou. Just as King Wenceslas called his page by thou. If that remark wasn't made on Sunday because we didn't get to that part, but this was a mark of this saintliness of this Wenceslas, that he addressed his page as thou. Hither, page, and stand by me, if thou know'st it telling. Not the way that a king speaks to a page, but it's the way one divine being speaks to another. Namaste. Thou. So, anything else from anyone before we read on? We have some minutes left. Okay, dears.
Miss Josephine McLeod was a wonderful American devotee and very dear to Holy Mother, who called her Jaya. When the mother passed away, Jaya was staying in England with her niece Alberta. After receiving the sad news, she wrote to Swami Saradananda. 15th August 1920, Halscroft, Stratford-on-Avon, Dearest Saradananda, first from dear Mrs. Sevier. Is that Sevier, Brother Shankar?
Sevier.
Yes.
Mrs. Sevier. Sevier.
Okay. First from dear Mrs. Sevier, other from Boshi Sen, after he returned from the cremation at the Mutt, that have I heard of Holy Mother's death on July 21st. And so that brave, quiet, strong soul has gone out, having left to modern Hindu womanhood the ideal of the great place that woman is to take in the next 3,000 years.
Ha ha! And you see, you
It
can
is happening.
bet that this was not her idea. This is something that had been communicated to her, probably by Swami Vivekananda, who was her dear friend. She was his disciple, yes, but she was also his dear friend. So please read that again, dear. That is so powerful. I'd forgotten this. It just, whoa, it's overwhelming.
Miss Josephine McLeod was a wonderful American devotee and very, very dear to Holy Mother, who called her Jaya. When the mother passed away, Jaya was staying in England with her niece, Alberta. After receiving the sad news, she wrote to Swami Saradananda. Dearest Saradananda, first from dear Mrs. Sevier, other from Boshi Sen, after he returned from the cremation at the Mutt, that have I heard of Holy Mother's death on July 21st. And so that brave, quiet, strong soul has gone out, having left to modern Hindu womanhood the ideal of the great place that woman is to take in the next 3,000 years. To me, her life is one of intense encouragement, gathering all of us under her sheltering and understanding life, creating new precedents as new needs arise, self-reliant, direct, wise. Oh, what an example each of us can make of her. She created new precedents. So must we, not hers, but our own. In no other way can the world's problems be solved. Yours in sincerity and affection, J. McLeod.
Yes, what did she mean by we must set our own precedents?
Mm-hmm.
Again, reflecting the thinking of Swami Vivekananda. Our minds must become our guru. Our first grace is human birth. Our second grace is the yearning for liberation, the yearning to be free of limitation, yearning to be free. The third grace is a qualified teacher, a guru, a remover of the darkness. But after that has all been done, and we have assimilated it and its meaning and its intention, then we must become our own teacher. We must become the unique individual manifestation of the divine that we are. As Swami Vivekananda published a tract when he was in England in 1896. The tract was, each man will say, each person, his or her own sect. We must become self-determined. And this, of course, is the great message of that book that we're studying on Wednesday nights, and that is Swami Ranganathananda's book, Divine Grace, the thesis of which is that to be fully human is to be fully divine, but that each of us is a unique manifestation of that divinity. So that's what Miss McLeod, Tanteen as she was known to Swamiji, and Tanteen means little ant. Tant is French for ant. Tanteen, it's an affectionate term for my dear little ant, Tanteen. And you know, Josephine McLeod spent her last days there at the Hollywood Center of the Vedanta Society of Southern California. She came and lived there with Swami Prabhavananda, and the woman who helped Swami found that center. She was a totally remarkable human being. And these things that she said, I'm going to go back and memorize, or at least commit to memory, the key points of Tantin's letter, because they really speak to us here in the West. It's been a long time since I read this book, so I'd forgotten this particular aspect, and it so strikes me now as so important. Anything else from anyone, dears?
Brother Shankara, did you meet Josephine McLeod?
I did not know she had passed away long before. I didn't come there until February of 1973. So it was just the last 3.5 years of Swami Prabhavananda's life. And all of these great souls that helped him found the center had passed on. But her presence could be felt. There were certain places there. The living room of that, of the greenhouse was one where it could be strongly felt, her presence. And sister, and the memory just won't bring back her name, but the
Sister Christine?
It was Christine, all right, but she went by another name that the Swami had given her.
Nivedita.
No.
No, not Nivedita.
That's not Nivedita,
Nivedita,
Josephine McLeod.
No, Tantin was Josephine.
Oh.
Nivedita was another of the Swamis, Swami Vivekananda's disciples, and she ended her life in India.
Yeah, she's different, not Josephine.
And she had become secretly one of the leaders of the revolutionary movement, the secret revolutionary movement that was going on. And she had to go too because the English would have arrested her. But no, it wasn't Christine Grinstidel. It was
Sister Devmata?
No, Devamata was another. She was the one associated with Paramananda's ashram.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
It'll come, and maybe I'll think to mention it next week.
It says she was given the nicknames Tantin and Jojo by Vivekananda.
Yes.
Tantin and Jojo. That's
Yeah,
what
well,
it says.
Jojo was what he called her when they were just in conversation by themselves. Tantin was what he called her when he was speaking about her. So in any case, these great souls ended their lives. The woman who gave that house and her stipend to the Swami to found the Vedanta Society of Southern California, and Tantin came. And of course, Tantin was of great help to the Swami and that center with money. And Tantin had known Brahmananda and all of those people. She was very close to the founding. She was there at the founding of Bellarmont. She and Nivedita both.
I think actually Tantin is one of the person who went with Vivekananda to Amarnath.
No, dear, no, Tantin did not. Nivedita did.
Nivedita, 3 ladies went. I thought.
Yes, but it was not. One of them was not Tantin.
Oh,
Her health just was not up to it. No, it was 2 other women. But she was that close to Swamiji that she would have gone if she could have. Or maybe she wasn't in the country. I don't really remember, honestly, whether it was her health or whether she was out of the country. Tantin was a remarkable woman. She was of great help and support to that great author Nikos Kazantzakis. the one that wrote The Shoes of the Fisherman and Zorba the Greek, and those wonderful books. She helped him publish a book when he wasn't able to get a publisher for it. She sponsored him and helped financially with the publication of the book. She was very involved with the cultural and spiritual elite of Europe. So, anything else, dears, before we sign off? We'll leave it there, and we'll pick it up. We'll read her letter again next week, dear,
Okay.
as a way to start.
Okay.
Any final thought from anyone? All right, dears. During these holy, holy days, this way of ending the year in holiness with these holy days, if we hold these thoughts to our heart, these thoughts of holiness, these thoughts of devotion and love, and the immense, immeasurable, when I say immense, that's just almost a comically too small word, being of the Mother and the Master and Jesus Christ, all of these beings. It can really and truly lift us up and end our year on a very high note indeed. So we'll do the worship of the Mother on the 18th, the celebration of her birth. And then on the 24th, we'll do the Christmas Eve service. Each one of these a way of bringing our hearts fully into those moments. And then, of course, on January 1st, we will observe Kalpataru Day, the day that the Master gave spiritual fulfillment and liberation to 30 some odd of his direct disciples, with the understanding that the Master's will to give us that is there. He came to set us free, to unchain us and set us free. Let us look deep in thine eyes. They are bright with the wisdom of God that can wake us from Maya's spell. So let us just not be distracted by too much by the things of the world, as little as possible during these last days of the year. There's only a few left. So may you be joyous, may you be fulfilled by these holy days. As my Celtic forebears would have said, may the grace and joy of these holy days be upon you and your loved ones. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai, Durga Durga Durga. May we be safe, may we be healthy, may we be cheerful, may we have peace of mind, and may we be always in the loving and protective embrace of the Divine Being as our Mother and Father. Any final thought from anyone? All right, dears.
This whole hour of the description is so, so detailed. I was there.
Yes, isn't it
That
so?
is
This is Swami Chaitananda's great grace.
unbelievable.
It's amazing.
Yes, this is Swami Chaitananda. And believe you me, dears, this was from years and years of practice. My sister Janice and I had had the privilege of helping him publish his very first book. I did the desktop publishing, she did the cover design for his very first book, Methods of Meditation. which was published in, I believe, 1975, 76, somewhere in there. And it was at the Hollywood Center through the Vedanta Press. And it was, so I've known the Swami a great long time and have become a great admirer and lover of his being, of him, because he has worked and worked and worked at this skill, this artistry of doing just exactly what you said, Balakrishna, bringing these beings to life for us, bringing these holy ones to life, and so that we see the film. We see it in our minds. What a treasure.
You are fortunate enough, Brother Shankara, to know him so well. Having been
Well,
his role in his first project.
yes. Well, I got to know him when I came in 1973. He was Swami Prabhavananda's chief assistant. And boy, howdy, did he work hard as the Swami's assistant. But he had time also to, with the Swami's encouragement, to prepare that book, Methods of Meditation, which is still in print. You can still get it. The cover has changed since the first one. So much love to you, dears, and until tomorrow night, for those of you who care to join us when we'll continue the study of Swami Ranganathananda's book, Divine Rays. May you be well, may you be happy, and may you be in the brightest of spirits as we go through these holy days to end the year. Jai Takwama, Jai Takwama, Jai.